It's Healthy Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown, as always. I never do this alone. I have the ladies. Hello.
Excellent morning.
For those of you that have not watched us in a while, we're actually exercising social distancing, so that's why all the ladies are not here. Just three of us on the show today. How are you doing, Obiajulu?
I'm doing amazing. You know, I've been a bit sad because this is actually my birth month. And my birthday is on Friday this week.
And we had
I have plans. You girls are supposed to take me out and spoil me, but it's not going to happen again because at least we are all social distancing. And but it's all good. I think that day I'll just stay home, do a makeup, wear a nice dress, sing around the house. My kids are home, so they will do the video for me and all that. I'll just try to have fun. And
we should have fun on your behalf
at
too.
home.
Let's all order something and just have
Instagram live.
we can all just have a party
and just have fun. Yeah, but aside from that, I'm actually enjoying the bonding I'm having with the kids. Initially I was scared that these kids will be at home. I'm going to be shouting all day and all of that. But I think because they're getting more mature, they understand that okay, it's time to read, it's time to eat. They did my workout session with me yesterday. We had so much fun. I was reluctant to leave them alone this morning, But I just think we should find ways to, enjoy this. Yes. And also, we've been talking about how we should stock up. Let's not forget that there are people who cannot even afford to, people who, rely on their daily. So what I did was I had to borrow money to ensure that I pay all my domestic staff so that at least while Madam is stocking up, they can still buy something and, let's just help one another.
How are you doing? How are you?
I'm fine. So I think Lagosians are taking this social distancing seriously. I went to the mall yesterday because, they give you a list of things that you should have. There's one that especially I've been hearing about, nebulizer or ventilator. Yeah. So I went to look for it, but I didn't find. Anyway, but I was happy to see that at the mall, almost all the shops were closed. Okay. But you would knock on the door, they'll come out, check your temperature, and then you use the sanitizer. Right. All the halls empty.
Are you kidding?
People were not around at all. Roads empty. I'm like, Lagosians at least, I know are taking this seriously.
Yeah, I have nebulizer home because my son always had that issue. Okay. But I think one of the things we'd like to do today is really help people understand. They are hearing all these terms like social distancing. Nobody has really defined it for them. Just they say we shouldn't stay at crowded places. But it's beyond that. There's self-isolation, flattening the curve. These are terms, new terms you're hearing, asymptomatic, So we need to explain to Nigerians what these terms mean and what it means, especially with your family and all that. So we'll have that the conversation a bit later. But we have to remember that today is World Tuberculosis Day. And the theme for this year is It's Time. This day commemorates yearly to raise public awareness about the devastating health, social, and economic consequences of tuberculosis. That's something that we've always talked about every year. And in the midst of this crisis, also we have to remember that we must take care of ourselves. Yeah. And once you notice any type of symptom, it's important to call and to be sure that you'll be fine. And they'll then tell you what steps to take to care for yourself and your family. Let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay. We're starting with The Nation. Nigeria nears lockdown as COVID-19 spreads. 28 victims came in from abroad, a whole bunch of others. Let's find another story. IMF predicts global recession. Alleged 500 million naira fraud, Oyoita gets 100 million naira bill. Senators worried over COVID-19, status of 35 colleagues. AMCON to seize Ogburu's 22 accounts. And also begins indefinite strike. Let's talk about IMF for a second.
Yes, so the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, which is IMF, Kristalina Jovina, has said that this COVID-19 pandemic would lead to a recession, which is likely going to be worse than the financial global recession we had. Yes. So he's saying that this is the time that countries need to work together. This is time to build solidarity. They're already making plans to ensure that they help. There's an emergency fund they're trying to access so that they can help poor countries. They're also commending the CBN of different countries, that's the central bank of different countries, for easing the monetary funds making it possible for people to be able to access, loans that will help. And it's not just about the countries, but it's going to help the global scene at large. So
in addition to that, she was also saying that $83 billion was withdrawn from emerging economies. So that's like the largest withdrawal from companies. So that would affect a lot of poorer countries. And that's why they need to have that kind of help to assist these poor countries to ensure that their economies don't crash totally, because it could be worse like 2008 or even just as bad as 2008.
Finally, there's a little hope that we may likely recover in 2021, but we need to shore up and prioritize our healthcare systems.
Okay, let's move on to the point. You want to take another story?
Yeah, ASU is going on strike because they said after talks with the federal government, and they haven't seen the federal government take on, play their part, and so they're going on strike. And I'm wondering, going on strike in the period where people are already on lockdown, how effective is your strike anyway?
It's strike anyway. Yeah, they are people home anyway.
But the minister was like, actually, we had a meeting with them, 2 meetings. They were supposed to get back to us on Friday. It's Monday, that was yesterday, and they haven't gotten back to us. And I'm hearing from whoever called him that they're going on indefinite strike.
Yes, we support the strike. We're cuckoo home anyway. Let them stay at home. We're fine. Moving on to the Punch. Contacts. We may be heading the way of China, Italy, FG warns. Cases rise up to 40. Government orders complete border closure. Anxiety as National Assembly resumes plenary today. Land grabbers allegedly killed Lagos businessman during scuffle. Teacher allegedly rapes 14-year-old people in Ogun. Kwara APC wants self-declared party spokesman Nabena. First commercial gold line construction begins in Osun. Nigeria slashes crude selling prices to woo buyers. And expect recession worse than 2008, says IMF. Okay, let's talk about the human interest story. These land grabbers. What?
Yes, so this happened in White Sand area in Lagos. It's close to, I think, the boundary between Isheri, Fagbile, and Amuwo, Kuje, around the Gondo area. So they had this family crisis over a particular piece of land. And then the two families are claiming to own the land. So they had to get a surveyor so that they can at least demarcate the boundaries. The day they were supposed to have the meeting, the surveyor didn't show up, so the meeting couldn't hold. Just as they were still talking, one of the families had gotten land grabbers who came in with cutlasses and knives, and they attacked them. But this particular Samson, who was a member of the other family, was fat and he couldn't run. So they caught up with him and butchered him. He was taken to the hospital. He said his blood pressure was very high. They had to take him to the native doctor. He died there. So the family is, seeking for justice.
When I read that story, I said, okay, so you took your family to the hospital.
Yes.
Hospital gave him drugs.
Yeah, to go home.
Then
and
it got worse. And the next step was taken to a native doctor.
Yes.
That in itself, you yourself, you're culpable. I mean, I don't know that. For me, it's that. I mean, I can't be a judge or jury in this, but it's the same thing. Yeah, and we're not saying native doctors don't work, but you cannot
mix both.
Anyways, let's take another story in Punch.
Yes, a very sad story.
A 23-year-old?
Yes, a 23-year-old teacher, an arts teacher in a school in Ogun State, allegedly raped a 14-year-old. He's her arts teacher. He first lured her to his house by claiming he was going to help her with a practical. When she got there, he dragged her and forcefully had his way with her to the point that she was bleeding, Thankfully, he's been arrested and he confessed, and she is in hospital getting treatment. So it's good that he's been caught, but it's so sad that we get these stories often. Can you imagine a 14-year-old child, what she's just been through?
Then Nigeria slashed their crude oil prices. Remember, we have excess now on the seas. We've produced so many barrels of crude that we can't sell. Nobody's buying. So we've slashed the prices across board, hoping that somebody will come.
If we had refineries, imagine what would have been doing this crude oil.
Yes.
Okay, Daily Sun, very quickly. Coronavirus total lockdown begins. Governor Bala Mohammed in self-isolation over his contact with Atiku's son. Ex-VP clears air on son's case. ASU begins indefinite strike over IPPIS. FG tasks Southeast on economic diversification. Who has the Atiku son story? Anybody to
okay, yeah. So it says the Bauchi state governor is in self-isolation. He had contact with the son of the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar. His name, the man's name is Mohammed Atiku Abubakar. He tested positive. He met with the governor of Bauchi state at the aero contractor's aircraft and they shook hands. And so he's in isolation. I think also they said that the government house is sort of in, you know, a bit of tension, I guess. To check
and also the Oyo State government has
everyone.
actually said that he was not at the rally because there were
Okay,
reports.
yes,
So there's so many reports going online.
Yes.
The father has said, my son did not go to club and all that stuff.
Conspiracy
and also,
theories are saying that
and
he's
that
been
the
around.
Oyo State government specifically said that he was not at the rally. So please stop passing rumor. It's a tough time for the family at this time. And I think it's just have to leave them alone to get through this process. Moving on now to Daily. Oh, you want to take another story?
No.
Okay. Daily Trust. Nigeria heads for total lockdown. Nigerians at risk as Abuja airport suspend travelers screening. State House PEMSEC move to humanitarian affairs. FG man to boost consumables and pharmaceuticals production. Military kills over 50 terrorists, captures others in 1 week. Okay, so we'll talk about the lockdown a bit later because we're discussing coronavirus. But let's talk about the consumables about to be
so federal government and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria said that they have a strategy in order to scale the productions of some consumables as well as hygiene products like, you know, our sanitary towels and things like that. And that the Ministry of Industry and Investment is doing everything to help these businesses to be able to carry out the production. And also they just gave advice on what to do, how the manufacturers and those who work in these plants will keep themselves safe and asking us to keep safe. I didn't hear anything about this is exactly what we have done, but this is a discussion that they have
Let's
had.
tell them a few things. We need vitamin C.
Yes,
There's no more vitamin C in my own area. Maybe they're in other areas. So I've gone around if I can't find vitamin C. But I'm taking lemon. That's all I'm taking.
There's
So
still other
lemons.
you can't find lemon.
Oh, they're finished. I needed more.
Yeah, so
there are other foods we can eat to help
give-
boost our immune system, like avocados, you know,
Yeah.
all those fruits, like the lemons now, ginger, garlic, and all of that. I think we should
we're getting an
focus
we're,
on.
we're bringing someone who's going to help us identify those fruits and foods we can take to give us more vitamins. I want to take the Abuja airport. What's that
Yes,
story?
so the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja have suspended all screening for both people who are coming in and people who are going out. For whatever reason, they are saying that Daily Trust carried out an investigation saying that millions of people are at risk. They discovered that they are not checking the temperatures, they are not giving hand sanitizers, though they have a few hand sanitizers put in visible places, but they are not using it.
Right.
They asked the regional manager, and that one directed them to the Port Health. They should go and find out from, he doesn't know what's happening. So I think this is not the time for us to just take this for granted.
Okay, our final paper, Vanguard, very quickly. Let's lock down now, says Aisha Buhari. COVID-19, CJ and others courts to shut down from today. MPA Shippers Council to lock down. Prepare for tougher measures, says Lai Mohammed. Khan says no to public gatherings. So pretty much Vanguard is telling us all we're going to discuss today on the COVID-19. So on that note, we're going to go on break. When we come back, we discuss the various steps government is taking across board concerning COVID-19 and how you can keep yourself safe. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So this segment is brought to you by Hypo. Currently, we have a lot to learn about coronavirus, and that's why we have medical practitioners present all across to be helping us generally on how to prevent coronavirus in our family. Today, joining us is a public health expert, Dr. Ronke Aguru. Because today is brought to you by Hypo, and Hypo has brought her here to continually help to push the conversation on how do we protect ourselves during this period. Now, I was saying, thanks for joining us on the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I was saying earlier that we've heard of new terms. You know, Nigerians are hearing social distancing, self-isolation. You know, they're hearing asymptomatic. We have to flatten the curve, and they are like, "What is all this one again?" So I would like you to really define these terms for us, because when you're hearing that there are different strains of coronavirus, I am wondering what is going on. Someone was saying it's airborne. So could you help us break it down? Coronavirus, is it airborne? When they say asymptomatic, what does that mean? And how fast does it spread?
Thank you. Thank you very much for your questions. All those terms are new to you, to me, to everybody else. Where do you want me to start from? Coronavirus is a family of viruses. Okay. So it's like a compound name, and then you now go distinctive by naming it the composition at the composition level. So COVID-19 is actually what we're looking at, which belongs in the coronavirus family. Okay. Flattening the curve and how fast it's spreading. Well, it's spreading fast worldwide. The rate that it's spreading is defying, in my own opinion, science. Because even up till about a few days ago, it wasn't considered an airborne disease. So it has some components of airborne, but it's not that definitive because it's evolving. We're finding new information out every day. Right. Scientists are working worldwide per minute, per second, break it down to microseconds just to find out that, oh, it's not what we thought it was, it's changes. You know, so there's information coming out every single day, and it's going to be like that until we actually combat this to zero. So it's not something that I can say, if I stand up from here, what I've said might be invalid because some scientists might have found out something better than what I said a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so I'm worried because of the peculiarity of the Nigerian people, in the sense that, you know, when we hear that people are self-isolating outside the country, we know what it means. Their housing systems are better. They can, you know, take a room and just stay. But we have not put into consideration those ones who live in face me, I slap you kind of rooms, a compound of how many, you know. So if peradventure that outbreak gets to someone who lives in a crowded environment, how effective is this self-isolation?
Self-isolation is, at that point in time, I must say, then it will become very dynamic. Let's start with hygiene. If you're washing your hands, you drive down the possibility, the risk factor of getting it. You're keeping to yourself to the best of your ability. I mean, if we are all to be isolated, the ideal would be one person per country. One person per country. That would be the ideal. That way we would definitely drive it down. But that is in a bubble. That's in some la-la land.
No reality.
Keeping to yourself, isolating to the best of your ability would become the norm in a situation like that. Provided you're washing your hands, keeping yourself clean, making sure that you're doing everything that conforms to the guidelines, we can all try our best. That's where we're going. This is a challenge for humanity. It's not just specific to anybody anymore. It's a challenge for humanity, and science is not normal anymore. So science is evolving as we go along. So if you're saying in a situation like that, so it won't be you doing what you normally do. It will be changing, at least refining what you do. If you're hugging people, kissing people, and even if you're in face me, I face you, you'll be like, okay, I want to face you today, maybe not tomorrow. Okay, you'll have to be dynamic.
Yeah. So could this be why governments across the world, and in the papers today as well, it says Nigeria is heading towards a lockdown?
Yes.
So could you tell us what a lockdown would mean?
A lockdown, if it gets to that, I don't believe it will be any different from what China went through, what Italy is going through, what UK is heading towards, and some states in the United States. So lockdown means that you're trying to actually aggressively stop people infecting themselves. If you're staying in your house, you're not infected. And it's just by you, like, so it will be the equivalent of you, one person per nation will be one person per house or room or whatever. So you will be limiting, if you don't see anybody.
Do you think, would that mean that there will be no, of course we already have no schools, no social gatherings, we have that, no work at all? Is that what that may mean? And maybe just hospitals will be open, so everybody is at home completely, you know, no movement at all. Is that what that would,
except essential services.
Yes.
Okay.
And that would, sorry, and so what would that, according to science then, how long do you think that would help in
reducing?
Reducing or putting it to a stop or to an end? Would it be like a 30-day lockdown and then we get it over and done with? What do you think?
If I said yes, honestly, if I don't have a job after that, I won't be surprised. 30 days would definitely make an impact. But can I say definitively that would take it to zero? I can't. And it would be unfair to say that because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know in the sense that if it's out there more than what we're projecting, 30 days definitely, even 2 weeks. Like what Mr. Governor said, like certain cadres of levels of in the civil service, public service should be
Stay home.
That definitely has made a huge improvement.
Because of time, I like to go back to the issue of flattening the curve, because Nigerians are hearing stay home, self-isolate, distance yourself, but they don't understand. You're talking about that a bit early, but I wanted you to land. What does it mean exactly to flatten that curve? Because we know that once somebody gets it, it's about 14 to 21 days, right? And that for the presentation. Now, if you stay at home and do your 21 days in your house, and don't affect anybody else, that stops it at least from spreading. But people don't get that understanding. So I want you to break down flattening the curve so that Nigerians can understand why we're asking them to stay home. Not just that they don't want to spread.
Exactly. A case in point would be case 31 in North Korea.
Yes.
Korea. She alone infected 1,200 people. So imagine one person doing that, and then do the mathematics. By the time you, so if you're self-isolating, especially if you've traveled or if you've had contact with people or someone that has been confirmed positive and all that, you reduce the risk for everybody else. And at least you'll be able to say, this is who I saw, this is what I saw, or where I've been. That way you make it less cumbersome for everybody. Because if all resources are pooled to tackle 1,200 at a go, and we're not multiplying, we dare not multiply by Lagos State's population.
Since you go ahead.
Yes. So, do you think that the government, and I know you work for Lagos State, so you would likely speak for Lagos State, is doing enough? You know, the measures they are putting in place is enough? Because I have seen countries that they are not taking chances at all. As we speak, our borders are still partially, somehow open. People are still getting in. So do you think there is more that we can do to ensure that we comply and everybody stays at home?
Definitely. The more that we can do is you and me. Lagos State government or any government anywhere in the world is a collective number of people. If a government is giving you directives, do not do this, do not go out, do not do this, and you flout it, you're risking everybody else's life. So
tell them.
You're saying that government, but at the end of the day, the government is you and me. If I don't do my part, you don't do your part, the four of us here, if we don't do our part, then government can do. Then government will be forced to use enforcement.
Okay, let me ask you this question, a Lagos State question, since you work for Lagos State government. God forbid, because I remember the deputy governor saying that we have 100 beds in Yaba. God forbid this goes more than 100.
Yes.
What are you doing to accommodate the people?
We have 5 other hospitals that have been penned to pick up capacity.
Fantastic.
And then in addition to that, the government has looked at two particular facilities that can take between 500 and 800 each.
Good. Fantastic.
And the plans are all evolving. As of yesterday when I was at EOC, I mean, we're going all out. And it's not just the government's issue. It's everybody. We need everybody. It's all hands on deck because health is one thing that we all have in common.
There's also talks. We've heard people say there are not enough test kits. We're not testing enough, maybe because there are not enough test kits.
Yes.
And that some people are also asking that maybe we should get some of these things ourselves, like things like ventilators, and buy them and keep them in our homes. Please, what do you have to say to that?
I understand that comes more from fear than anything else. I'm not a clinician, but I can say this, that you can't use a ventilator by yourself. It's a very specialized skill. Even if we had 2 million ventilators here today, even in America, in any of the other nations, you can't just plug it into your lungs and say...
What of nebulizer? That's what we know.
Nebulizers do certain things, except you have, to the best of my knowledge, you're asthmatic and you're trying to open up your airways and all that. COVID-19 has certain symptoms, and like I said, it's evolving. You just can't, if you're healthy, you just can't put it on trying to cure your problem. If you do that, you're going to create another problem that is not even related to COVID-19. Please don't do that. It's, like I said, it's evolving worldwide. We're not alone. We have a lot of partners that are working with us, and we're trying to do our best and make sure that we have everything possible.
I have to let you go because I know that we're still bringing in a medical doctor who's going to also, because we have quite a few questions on this. But concerning hygiene, and I know Hypo sponsored this segment, people are diluting Hypo and spraying it. I mean, let me just say myself, my house.
Report yourself.
I have diluted the handles, remote controls, tabletops, my kitchen counters, everywhere I am spraying. Is that overdoing it? Or is that what we should be doing?
Well, I can't say you're overdoing it. I think I'd rather log it under you're being cautious. So keeping the surface of any object clean is definitely crucial. And IPO has been doing that way before COVID-19 came into town anyway. So as long as you're using it to clean the surface and making sure that things are clean, I can't say you're being overzealous. You're just being cautious and being proactive.
Okay, as you've heard from our doctor, practicing and maintaining good personal hygiene is one of the ways to prevent contacting and spreading coronavirus into your home. Let's all say no to germs by cleaning up our environment with your brand, not my brand, Hypo, because I can't endorse. But let's go on a break now. When we come back, we continue this conversation on COVID-19. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have Dr. Japhet Olugbogi. He's the chairman committee on COVID-19 for the Nigerian Medical Association Lagos branch, to share with us updates on COVID-19. My first question to you, sir. I've been trying to ask this question, for nobody's been able to answer this question. We keep saying, even globally, that X number have recovered. Please, what did they use for these ones that recovered? Because we need information, and I feel that we're not decentralizing this information.
Yeah.
You cannot keep hoarding the information that you're using to make these people well. Let us know what you did that they recovered, what they did that they recovered, such that we can also protect ourselves.
Well, thank you very much for having me. First of all, COVID-19, as we are all aware, doesn't have a cure for now. Although I'm hearing that there's a vaccine in the US that's been developed. But those who recovered in Lagos, 2 patients precisely, they were managed symptomatically. That is to say that we must bring on the symptoms, they manage them for their symptoms. So, but at the end of the day, we gave them 2 particular antivirals, which I'm not at liberty to disclose for certain reasons. And they did well on those antivirals, and it helped them to keep their viral load low until they got so much better and then tested negative, and then we had to discharge them.
Yeah, so I am worried.
You're the go-to person in COVID-19 Lagos for all information, because the reason I'm asking is that recently there have been many figures that have been posted on social media that are saying that these are the right numbers, that maybe the government may be, may not be telling us exactly how many people have this COVID-19. Could you tell us exactly how many people have it, how many people were looking for, who may have come in and they did not, come in on some flights that we had cases, but they have not yet reported themselves?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I think I'd like to discountenance some rumors that are going on in society. The government is actually very truthful because I can say categorically that as the cases come in, as the results come in, the government rolls out the results as much as possible to the populace. You are right. Last night I posted on a group that I'll be here to this morning, and somebody questioned, what are you talking about? Is the government, is it COVID-19 or COVID corruption and all that? So a lot of people still don't believe that we actually have cases in Lagos. And some who think the government is hoarding the numbers. The government is not hoarding the numbers. We have just 40 cases.
But people believe that it's 40 cases that you know. But there are plenty that you don't know, that have not come forward. So telling us 40 for us, we are still wondering, the 3 flights, Turkish Airlines, Lufthansa, and BA.
How many people are
inside? So we've not heard any. So for us, we are worried.
You may not be too far from the truth, but that is half truth, if I may say.
Okay.
Yes, we have tested 40 people that are positive.
Okay.
But yes, we are also monitoring and tracing certain other people who may have been in contact with the 40 people that we've tested, who may have been on the same flight with them.
Right.
But that does not mean that they actually have the disease.
Okay.
Now, it is true that there are asymptomatic carriers. Now, but
what does that mean?
Yes,
Please, Nigerians need to understand. What does asymptomatic carrier mean?
Asymptomatic carriers are those who actually have the virus or who may have had the virus but are not showing symptoms yet.
Okay.
But research has also shown that these people are actually fewer in number and they don't infect as much as people who actually show symptoms.
The symptoms.
Let me repeat that again so that everybody is
get
clear.
it.
Now, when somebody has COVID-19, the incubation period is 14 days.
Okay.
So if you start showing symptoms, that means within the 14 days, that means that person, when the person actually tests positive for it, that person has COVID-19.
Right.
But that person can easily disseminate the virus to others.
Okay.
There are some others who may actually be within that 14 days period, who may not be showing any symptoms at all.
Okay.
And may have the virus.
Okay.
Okay, those are the asymptomatic.
And can you catch from those people also?
We can catch them if we do our contact tracing. That is to say,
So can those people spread?
they can spread it, but like I said earlier on, that was what I was trying to emphasize. Not as much
as those that
who
are
are
showing
actually
symptoms.
showing symptoms.
Oh, fantastic.
So that is one strength that
Okay.
we are using to actually pick up people.
Go ahead.
But they may not be far from the truth that some people are in the society which we have not picked up, because as much as possible, we are trying to test as many people as possible to be able to pick them up and then put them in isolation.
Lagos State has been telling us that they are ready for this COVID-19. They already have 100 beds somewhere in Yaba as we speak. But is this not false hope? Are you telling us the truth? Because we need to know, I believe Nigerians or Lagosians need to be aware of exactly the situation where we're in, because if you don't know you have a problem, you will not know when you get cured.
Absolutely.
Exactly where we're in. Are we equipped to handle this? For instance, the primary health care, we are still buying gloves when you go there. We had colleagues who went there 2 weeks ago. I don't want to mention the names, but people are still buying, still buying hand gloves to handle just normal cases. What if an outbreak happens in a place like Lagos? Are we sure we can contain it? Tell us the truth. When we have the truth, people will not insist on staying at home.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you. It's regrettable that people still have to buy gloves in the particular primary health care. But what I can say for sure is that that should be out of the place now. That should be a forgotten thing, because the government actually provides consumables, and the medical officers of health, which I am one, also as much as possible, they are the MDCO of those primary centers, and they ought to provide consumables as much as possible. Now, the government has about 100 beds, I'd say about, in the Yaba, because when the push comes to shove, we can't keep 100 people in 100 beds because of social distancing.
Yes, exactly.
But government have about 100 beds in Yaba. But like Dr. Aguro said earlier on, there are facilities in 5 different locations in Lagos, Badagry.
Okay, let me just ask you.
Government is actually, let me finish that line of thought. Government is actually making more provisions so that people can get isolated in a befitting environment as much as possible.
Issue of testing. Now, how many test kits does Lagos State have? Because globally, everybody's complaining that they don't have enough. So I think it is our Sheshere Nigeria and even Sheshere Lagos. How many test kits do we have? And can we, if we now get these other hospitals to partner, can they be empowered with these test kits so that people who are feeling like I don't want to go to Yaba can comfortably go to the next hospital down the street and get tested?
And let me just add on that, how many testings are we doing per day in Lagos State?
First of all, I will not lie to you. We don't have enough test kits. Just like every other country in the whole world.
Yes.
There are not enough test kits. The test kits are expensive, they are difficult to handle, they are technical. Then apart from that, even if we do have test kits, we can't test everyone because we don't have enough human resource to carry that out. Now, even if we do have enough human resource to carry that out, they need to be trained. People who do the testing need to be trained. Don't forget that for somebody who is showing signs of COVID-19 and you want to test, the individual who is testing is also at risk.
Yeah, you have to
So
protect.
the individual has to wear the PPE, the mask and all that. So
So with that means that we might not even really know the real figure.
Yes.
Since we don't have enough test kits, we might not even know the real figure we have in Nigeria. Because we can't test anybody.
we may not know the real figure, but we are monitoring as many people as possible. Okay, for instance, the last time you asked a question that how many people are we monitoring, I don't have a particular figure right now, but we're monitoring over 5,000 people as we speak. People are calling.
5,000 people that we cannot test.
5,000 people that we cannot test. But for any one of them that shows symptoms, we test them immediately. And now, to answer your question,
Yes, how many?
I cannot say categorically, but I know for sure that we test over 25 people per day on a daily basis.
Go ahead.
Oh, yes. So, you know, when I watch, Nigerians, a lot of them are not taking this matter seriously, especially in my area, the very rural areas. They don't even understand what you're saying as we speak. So what do you think the government can do? Because when I watch international media, what they do is, for those people who are recovering, they go to the hospitals, they do, you know, they show them, explaining their pain, their experiences. Do you think the government can partner with media houses to go to the streets there?
Absolutely.
Let me add to that, because also, what is the local government doing in addition to what she's saying? To sensitize, because we go to the market areas. So this is the time that we need local government to work like local government, because they are the closest to the people. What are they doing to ensure that the motor parks are decongested? The markets, they are the ones closest to us.
Thank you very much. We can go on and on and on. That question you asked, I can talk about it for like an hour, because I'm actually at the center of it. I work, I'm like the FD CEO of primary centers at the local government level. So the responsibility falls on people like us to actually sensitize people in the community, and we have been doing that. As we speak, there's a lot of community dialogue going on. I personally did stakeholders community sensitization with DPO, police, CDC, CDA, community women, market women, everybody in attendance. We have pictures, we have a lot of jingles. We also rolled out on radio, in Yoruba, in local language, and even in English. A lot of IEC materials, flyers, even e-copies as well. So we are still doing a lot, but we want to partner with the media houses, and that's one of the reasons why I am here. I was actually sent here by the EOC, the Social Mobilization and Risk Communication part of the EOC, to actually talk to people on the media. We have been doing a lot of media engagement as well. We have appeared on radio a lot. And we are still doing a lot.
Yeah, I just want to ask one question. Because we have the situation that we have with markets, is there anything you would like for them to do while they're doing their business?
We should all take responsibility.
Wear gloves and masks? Because I see a lot of those
I wouldn't advise that they wear gloves, because if they wear gloves, they're going to spread anything onto other people, because they don't know how to handle gloves. You can't wear a pair of gloves and use it to do everything you want to do in one day. You end up spreading germs to other people. So they should just wash their hands. If they don't have a hand wash basin and water and soap, use hand sanitizer. And it's not everybody that needs to wear a face mask. It's only people that are coughing or that have asthma or that live where there's dust, or that in an environment where there's fumes and dust. So those are people that need to wear face masks.
But we do like to see local government chairman. If we don't see your faces, this is time for you to start working.
They are releasing money for sensitization.
No, we are releasing money. We want to see them. We want to see them.
Okay, yes.
We want to see them in action.
See you on the streets, taking charge of your local government.
Talking to your people.
Working, not that they are sitting
I think we can do that.
Okay, that's all we can take on this. Thank you very much, Dr. Javid. We're going to bring you back. I hope you are going to stand by for us, because we continually want to know what's going on, especially in those holding centers, to be sure that we are monitoring those who are recovering and seeing that we're doing the right things to keep our immune.
And if you don't mind, I have 10 seconds to give a message to everybody. We are all in this together. People who have big hotels should also volunteer to government.
Thank you.
So that the government can use them as isolation centers, like quarantine centers. Government needs a lot of support now. It's not only government, Also, private organizations who have resources should also, as much as possible, help.
We'll bring solidarity. You have a long time. We'll bring you back to give us more updates. Don't worry.
Thank you very
That's
much.
all we can take. When we come back, the government has said there's closed borders. What does that mean? You know, this Nigeria, you still use one way to enter the border. So we're bringing in somebody to help us explain how they're going to ensure that borders are properly closed. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, still on pandemic trolling the nation. According to reports, the federal government has announced the closure of all land borders. Join us on the show to enlighten us about this closure is the PRO Customs, Mr. Joseph Atta. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, we know the land borders have been closed, but now it's like the government is saying every single other parts must be closed. So far, what is Customs doing to ensure that people are not sneaking through to enter Nigeria?
Well, before I answer that question, let me just start by saluting the health workers who are in the front line of the battle against this deadly COVID-19. As a customs officer, I know what it means to put your life at stake, protecting things that could harm your nation. And that's what we've been doing at the borders. Before now, we've been talking about partial border closure. The whole essence of this partial border closure, which is now total, is to ensure that things that can compromise our security and well-being are not allowed to come in. So what we're going to do, now that the federal government has even said it's total, is to ensure total compliance, that nobody comes in and nobody goes out. It's a total lockdown on the borders. Now, we've always been saying it's partial. Goods cannot go out, cannot come in. But human beings can come in and go out with valid papers. But from yesterday, it's now total.
Okay, so how possible is this total closure when we know that our borders are still porous? It's not like we built a wall to, cover all of those loopholes, and we still, even with the partial closure of the borders, we still have smugglers. We still had smugglers who were taking all those ugly routes inside. So is there any plan to, shore up our borders, shore up the porous lines that people can actually get in from? Our people are stubborn.
First and foremost, when you're talking about health, it's personal. First and foremost, every Nigerian must be responsible for his own health. We're talking about your health, your life, your family, your husband, your children. So every human being has that natural instinct to protect himself. So if we are saying there is a disease coming into this country, and the best way to stop it is to block the border, would you want to put your life at stake?
No, I'm not a smuggler.
So, no, of course, we're not even talking about smuggling. It has even gone beyond smuggling now. Okay. It's about your life. You even need to be alive before you smuggle.
So talking about protecting selves, which is a natural instinct, what are you and the personnel at the borders doing to protect themselves while they are protecting the country? Okay,
since the outbreak of this COVID-19, the exercise Swift Response have been collaborating actively with the Ministry of Health, to ensure that the messages are complied with at our entry points, to ensure that all those who have one reason or the other, any kind of transaction with customs or immigration or all the frontiers, all those of us that operate at the frontiers, comply strictly with the directives of the Ministry of Health. So now it's going to be total. We will continue to do that and to ensure that things that can come and harm us, either by our security, our health, whichever way, is not allowed to come.
I was just asking to be a bit more specific. Are you people wearing anything protective? Because it involves you speaking with people, checking things. And you are fathers and husbands. You will leave those places and go to your homes and go to your neighborhoods. What are you wearing to protect or you? Eating?
Well, before now, of course, this testing kits, temperature testing, hand sanitizer, washing water and soaps, and all those little preventive measures are in place. But I think what is more important to us is the fact that the border is now totally closed. You don't have people to deal with again. If people are not coming in, they're not going out. So
it's quiet.
Let's talk about the ports for a second, because people have seen that people coming in through the ports actually can be contaminated. Ports are coming in, the cargoes are coming in. What is the customs doing to ensure proper measures are put in place to secure those borders, number one? Number two, we've seen globally that all the various security personnel, customs, military, air force, everybody's on standby to enforce what the government has put forward. So what is customs also doing to ensure either you're physically manning it or remotely somehow, but ensuring that across those borders we are 100% guarded?
I want to assure you that if you visit any of our seaports today, either seaports, land borders, or airports, what you see right now is not what you used to see.
Okay.
The idea of these little measures that are already put in place. And as time goes on, I'm sure there will be more gears supplied to our operatives to protect themselves. Because in the first place, you need to protect yourself to be able to protect others.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So that
so
is
I'm curious about Nigerians who are stuck somewhere else and they want to come in. So this full closure of the borders now, according to the presidential land borders. Yeah. Now, does it mean that Nigerians, does it mean that Nigerians outside can no longer have access back into their country? Are they going to, via land, are they going to be asked to stay back, or they will still allow them in because they are Nigerians and not the non-Nigerians?
Republic of Benin, like.
Yes.
You see, when you are taking measures to protect a larger society, if one person coming in is going to compromise the health of millions, I think certain decisions have to be taken, and that's what has been taken.
Can you speak on whether we are receiving any test kits or things like that, things for the hygiene and health and fighting this, materials for fighting this COVID-19?
Well,
do you know if you have received those?
Yes, I'm not in position to really speak for the Ministry of Health. I can only say that our operatives have these basic testing kits like temperature, sanitizers, and washing.
Before we let you go, I wanted to go back to the airports because we got a report that certain officials did not want to subject themselves to screening and testing at the airports where they came in. I think it was on the customs. They wrote directly to, I think it was to the Senate president. How far, do you have an update on that? Are we getting these people coming back saying, okay, come on, screen me?
Well, I'm not particularly aware of any high-profile person that has come in and refused to subject himself to test, but I'm reading from social media that that did happen.
In the papers,
and also in the papers. I think that would be unfortunate. I think that would be irresponsible of any person to I don't know, but if any person does that, that will not be responsible of that person, because we are talking about lives here. We are talking about that person's wife or husband or children, even friends. So I would advise that any person, irrespective of his status,
you came here with the National Orientation Agency State Director. So I know he also wants to say a few things. So we'll step you down for a moment. Both of them should have come on board because of the social distancing. We couldn't accommodate the two of you. So we'll step you down for a moment. But first, let me take this call from Germany. Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning. My
Thanks
name is
for
Douglas.
calling. Go ahead, please.
From Germany.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I would like to appreciate you girls from what you're doing, and and appreciate Nigerian government also for the proactive measures they've taken so far. I mean, watching TV, see them take a decision to make an advertisement to society, public on how to go about this virus. Nigeria is even doing much more than Germany is doing at this moment, and I would like to appreciate the country, the government, the Lagos government for particularly. But I was also like to talk to Obiajulu, at least she knows just as more. As we are talking now, last Saturday, Goa allowed the PDP local government Congress, which is very, 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 I mean, to talk of a doctor doing that kind of a thing, it is very, very, very appalling. And, I mean, we should be calling our leaders, taking them, asking them to be more responsible for these things we are doing. Because, COVID-19 is not something that you play with.
Right.
It is very, very...
Right. Thank you. Oh, sorry, we lost that call. Let me go on a break. Now we come back. We'll bring in the State Director for the National Orientation Agency. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have the Director, National Orientation Agency, Prince Waheed Ishola. Welcome to the show. Lagos State, actually, the Lagos State chapter.
Lagos, yes.
Yes.
My pleasure being here.
Good to have you on the show.
The hot seat.
Well, it's not a hot seat because we need to know what your agency is doing. You see, more than ever, we need sensitization because people obviously are still oblivious of the impact of what's at stake. So what is your agency doing, especially in Lagos State, to sensitize people?
Well, the agency in Lagos State has done so much to sensitize people. I've been here in your station severally. So, you see, if we want to look at what is trending right now, which is COVID-19, I'm equally a member of the Emergency Operations Center for this thing. I'm a member of the Social Mobilization and Risk Communication Committee of the center. We've done quite much. But the problem we had at the onset was what really happened in Italy when the government, tried to lock down the country and people did not obey. And that is why they are where they are today. In Lagos, in Nigeria generally, people never really believed that there was anything like COVID-19. You understand? Just like what we had during Ebola outbreak. I was equally a member of the EOC during Ebola outbreak. So what did we do? That we fought Ebola to a standstill. We had to, revive some of those things that we did then by ensuring that we move out into the nooks and crannies. I'm talking about Lagos now. Of Lagos, sensitizing our people. But because of the fact that this virus is a different thing entirely, we had to reduce. We could no longer do what we normally do before, bringing large crowd to talk to them. So we needed to reduce to 50, now to 20. Now we're talking about social distancing. You understand? But then, it has dawned on our people that, yes, COVID-19 is real. And thankfully, the federal government, in its wisdom, has now said, yes, total closure of our border. You remember, the index case came from out there.
Okay, because of social time, I'd like to go specific. Go ahead.
To be specific, I know that, government will say we're doing a lot, but what is more important is the impact of that lot you're doing. How are people receiving this a lot that you have done? What exactly are you telling these Nigerians? Especially, everybody keeps saying we have people still going to the market, the motor park. Let me add to that question. How many social mobilization officers do you have? Which parts of Lagos have they been mobilized to go? At which regions? Which areas exactly have they been mobilized?
Right now, I have well over 200 mobilization officers working with me. I have the members of the Y Brigade equally working with me. I have offices in all the 20 local governments of Lagos State and the 37 local council development areas of Lagos State. I am the only federal agency that have that kind of reach. Right now, 51 of my staff are involved in contact tracing of passengers of interest that we monitor via calls to monitor their health. If there are changes in their health, quickly we report to the EOC and they are taking off.
So 51 of the 200 are now. Now, do you need volunteers to support? Do you need negotiators to come forward?
Of course, at the EOC level, we take volunteers also that are being trained, on how to, right now, we're doing in all the local governments, focal group discussion with community leaders, traditional rulers, community people. We know that we can no longer assemble people.
So that's the challenge you're having.
That's the challenge we're having now. Then again, when you're talking about the motor parks and markets, obviously people will still have to go to the market. Because we need to eat to survive. Motor parks, people will need to still commute. But what we're doing is we've had a series of meetings with the members of the NURTW, and that is why they have agreed that the commuter buses must be 60% occupancy. You understand? Even the BRT, they have said that no more standing in the BRT. And all air conditions in all of those buses should be switched off.
Do they get sanitizers as they get on the buses?
Of course, they get sanitizers.
And people are testing them on the buses?
To check their temperatures. But then, what we need to do as a people is to give support, to lend supporting hand to government. Government has now said that from levels 1 to 12,
should stay home.
Should stay home. It is not an opportunity for you to go socializing.
Go to the malls.
So to go to the malls or whatever. Stay in your house. If you are infected, don't infect any other person. Be in self-isolation. When you develop symptoms, call the toll-free numbers that have been provided.
So, sir, I wanted to ask quickly, is there any plan to punish people who flout these state laws? For instance, we're told that the churches shouldn't, come together to have their services. But we heard of major churches that opened with over 501,000 church members attending. Till now, I've not heard that we picked up this person to answer for that.
Yeah. You see, these are sensitive issues that we're raising. However, in the state, in Lagos State, I'm aware that on Sunday, last Sunday, there were several worship centers that were dispersed. Some of their pastors were picked up.
Yeah, smaller churches.
Smaller churches. But all of those ones that I are talking about, I have seen them
the bigger one
taking, saying,
go and pick up
rejoinders. That no,
yes.
they did this and they did that. But however,
yes.
we must, as leaders, religious leaders, we must
obey the law.
Be responsible. In the Bible, it is there.
Give to Caesar what is Caesar, sir.
So we need...
That's a topic for another day.
Yes,
but, okay, but as we round up, because we see all over the world, people are actually volunteering their time, their resources, money, because social mobilization is extremely important because you are the ones on the road, you are the foot soldiers. So I would like you to use this opportunity to appeal to the Lagosians, if they are available, those of you that are at home, if they can come to you, if there's a website they can register, you know what, I have time, I can help you to go and knock on doors and say, please, or stay home or something. What exactly is the strategy that we can help support? Because you obviously don't have 200 people for a state of over 20 million people. You definitely need more hands. So can we support you? How do we support you?
How do we volunteer?
Well, in Lagos, we have people at the various local governments.
Okay.
So if you want to volunteer, you need to go to the local government to meet with the MOHs of those local governments, that's medical officer of health.
Okay.
To tell them that, look, I'm ready to volunteer in terms of, you know, that, but
mobilization.
The level of volunteerism is
it's different, yes.
Yes, mobilization, that is easy. That could be easily done. But in terms of surveillance, testing, and all of that, we needed people who are trained.
Yeah, of course.
So, but all we need to do, even we don't really need so many people on the streets.
Yeah.
You know, under the pretense of volunteering to mobilize. We need our people to stay safe, to ensure that obey all the government directives, and of course, follow the precautionary measures for you not to be infected.
All right, thank you so much.
COVID-19 is real. It has come to Nigeria. We need to defeat it the way we defeated Ebola.
Fantastic. At least we defeated Ebola. So we have every right to say we can defeat it. Yes. They say hope is not a strategy. So let us not say it. But we are hoping that Nigerians would listen to their governments. So following the COVID-19 pandemic, your view will no longer be entertaining live audience on Wednesdays till further notice. So those of you that always show us support by coming on Wednesdays, unfortunately, we won't be doing any live audience show tomorrow. Please stay back and stay safe. The moment we can start over, we'll let you know so you can come back because we definitely love to have you. That's all we can take on today's show. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.